Today we're going to do a bare bones setup of Debian Linux for configuring it for everyday home usage. Say you have an old laptop or desktop at home that you don't want to part with, where it's still a decent machine, and you really don't want to try Windows 11 or it can't run it. Well, this might be for you. Okay, we punch up our virtual machine here. Okay, we go graphical install. Okay, we select our language from the list of languages to be used on the system. I'm going with English. I live in Canada. That's fine. Okay, she's detecting our hardware. See if I can make this full screen here. There. Okay, we can keep the host name as Debian or give it whatever fabulous name you want to call your machine. In this case, I'm going to call mine Constellation. Skip that. Okay. Root passwords are very important if you're going to be setting up a corporate workstation. It's basically another layer of security. Usually, if you're setting this up as a workstation or going to be using it for dev work, such as with Docker or anything with Kubernetes, I would tell people to set the root password. If not, your account password will become the root password using the sudo command, which is fine for everyday users. Actually, we'll do it this way. Actually, instead of evil Obi-Wan Kenobi, I'm just going to be Obi-Wan today. We knock in our fabulous password. That should be strong, but something you can remember. Okay, we go continue. We select our time zone. Our hard drive. And you can select whatever you want, but if you're a new user, I suggest this one, having all your files in one partition. Personally, I prefer keeping my stuff separate in separate partitions. That's just me. That's fine. Yes. Okay, it's going to install the base operating system, which is actually motoring quite along. I'm actually beginning to recommend people using Debian over Ubuntu these days. Canonical has done a whole bunch of shady stuff with snaps. Basically, they got caught data mining people's data and selling it to data brokers using snaps, which led to them getting a good couple $1 million fine in the European Union. The Debian guys, to my knowledge, don't do that type of shady stuff. Okay, after the base system is installed, we have to configure the package manager. Right here, it's talking about pulling files from your install CD or image. It's going to ask if you wish to scan more media. I usually tell it no, unless I downloaded the extra images from the Debian website. And yes, you want to use a network mirror unless you're going to compile the packages into ISO format every time a update is released. I do know people who like to do that. However, I personally prefer just using the distributor's own packages that they're going to provide for free off their FTP servers, which I can pull in running the updater. I usually go with the top choice here. Continue. Once this is done configuring apt I should say, it's going to select and install the hardware for the system. And once it's done doing that, it'll probably prompt us to choose which desktop environment we want to use. Okay, there is some telemetry collected by the distributor. However, unlike Canonical, they will allow you to opt in or out. They call it a popularity contest. You can opt in or out of it. Personally, I usually don't opt into it. With most Linux distributions, you have a choice of different desktop environments. You can go with GNOME, which has a little launcher bar on the side of the screen, or you can go with Iceface or Xface, which is a little dock on the bottom of your screen. Or you can go with KDE Plasma or Cinnamon, which are two desktop environments that are built to emulate Windows 7. And then you got Mate, which is a bunch of little menus atop the screen like classic Mac OS. LXDE and LXQT are watered down versions of KDE and Cinnamon, meant for older systems that are lower spec. Personally, I like Cinnamon, though I'm kind of testing out KDE Plasma on my laptop currently. But for this, we're going to go with Cinnamon. And I'll be back with you guys after this is done installing all the software. And we'll continue on the installer from there. After the installer has installed the software packages in the desktop environment, it'll prompt us for the bootloader. And you want to install the bootloader on your primary drive. You select your primary drive from the list of devices detected and hit continue. And from there, it'll finish the installation and run hardware detection. And hopefully configure all the drivers for your devices for you. Okay, it'll prompt us to finish the installation, and by hitting continue, we reboot the system. Alright, here we go. Click our username, and now we enter our fabulous user password. Interesting, I told it cinnamon and it installed GNOME. That is fine, we can work around that. But yeah, inside GNOME, you would click on Activities here to go back to your just plain desktop, or again to see and access your applications. Okay, we're going to install the firewall. Sudo apt get ufw install. Enter in our fabulous password. This is just one way of many to install software. And we're being prompted for our CD-ROM, which is fine. We're going to remove that dependency. To remove that dependency on the CD-ROM, we would go into Activities, and we type in Software Sources. Click on Software and Update, and we will go to Other Software, uncheck the CD-ROM, which will prompt us to enter in a password again. Let's try that again. Okay, that's done. We hit reload, it'll refresh the software cache. Now we should be able to install our firewall. You'll probably see little prompts and stuff like appear, just ignore them. It's routine when you're first configuring a system, especially a Unix system, to get a few messages. Sudo apt get install ufw. Y for yes. Okay, now we install the graphical portion of her. Go in here and go GUFW. Enter in our password again. And we toggle that to on. Like these settings right here would be good for basic normal usage. However, in a future video, we will touch more on the firewall. And I'll show you how to configure it for if you're going to be doing dev work. Okay. Okay, I'm going to show you how to switch between desktop environments if you installed additional ones. You go up here you go log out. Now we click on the username and there's a little gear icon right here. You click on that and it'll display a list of desktop environments. In this case we want Cinnamon. And as you can tell, the Cinnamon environment is very much like Windows. Okay, I'm going to show you how to add themes to it, to customize it. You go into your menu, you click on this icon right here, which is the system settings, and then you go to themes and add remove. And you will see a list of themes that are put out by the distributors and made available for users. I'm just going to grab a couple here. Okay, we already grabbed New Minty. We're going to grab Adara. And Doopa-doopy-doo. C Black Remix. They renamed it slightly. And Winter Bloom, which is one of my favorites. Okay, once you've done that, you click on this here, across from desktop, and you'll see your themes listed here. Green Submarine, Blue Submarine, Black Mate, and Blue Menta are the default Debian themes that come with Debian 12. We're going to grab Winter Bloom. There are various baked-in icon packs with this. This is Adawada. We can go to Mate. They all look very similar. It's one thing I find. Now we're going to update the base system. Sudo apt get update. Entering your password. And sudo apt get upgrade. And as it turns out, this is fully updated. Now, for additional software. We're going to pull some software from the software store. In the search bar right here, type in software. And we'll go into the App Store. You have various categories from create, work, play, socialize, learn, and develop. Okay, calendar app should be already in there by default. I'm giving us an email application, which is called Thunderbird. Made by the same guys behind Firefox. It's one. And Calibre, if you work with PDF files, you'll be wanting that. Any day now. Here we go. Click on Explore here for a sec. Not sure if VLC player is in by default. If not, we can easily put it in. one thing about Linux and Unix in general is that there's no one set way to do everything. People seem to think that it's all command line driven. It isn't. Not anymore. And this is being as slow as cold molasses going up the hill. That's fine. There's more than one way to skin a cat. I find at times the App Store can run very, very slow depending on your internet connection. Yeah, this is too slow. We're going to install a few things via the command prompt. Okay, I'm going to show you how to install VLC player from the terminal here. Enter in our fabulous password. You can get it from the App Store, though at times I find the App Store can be very sluggish. And that sometimes also I prefer doing stuff via the terminal. So one thing about Linux and Unix is that it's very flexible by its nature. We're also going to enable Flatpaks too, which is another form of package manager too. Has a large amount of software too. Now to enable that. We're also installing the GNOME software plugins. Even though we're using Cinnamon, Cinnamon is still a fork of GNOME, which means this is still applicable. And we're going to install a few other applications too. You can do this through the software store, but right now I'm preferring to do it through command prompt here. You can also do mass installs too, of batch installing software. And apparently it does not want to do that. That's cool. Oh, I probably tried to grab too much stuff. It's fine, we'll do this one at a time. If you're doing any torrenting or downloading software, Transmission is a good piece of software to have, and looks like they already got it built in this time. Cool. Get us some good old Geany. Geany is a lightweight dev tool that allows you to program a bunch of programming languages such as VS Code. It's very lightweight. Also going to install Shotwell. Cool, they already got it in here. Let's see if that software store wants to play nice now. Software needs... Cool, we'll that in a minute. Audacity is a basic audio editor. It allows you to edit and manipulate audio files. You can also use it as a sound recorder. Also get us some FileZilla while I'm on here. Okay, this thing wants us to reboot. Okay, we're going to reboot the system and then we will continue our installs. Okay, we're back up and running. Now, if you're doing any FTP work, you'll be wanting FileZilla. It is an open source FTP program or file transfer program. Grab a few more things and oh, it's not on here now. There it is, or it was. Come on. Stop being a bugger. Really? The GIMP, or the GNU image manipulation program, is similar to Photoshop. It's a very bare bones editing suite, however, it is powerful. Though it is a little bit on the challenging side until you master it. And we will grab one more thing. What the? Really? I want leaf pad. That's fine. We'll get it through the terminal. Or you don't want to cooperate. LeafPad is a very bare bones basic editing software similar to Nano and Vim. Interesting. I guess it's been obsoleted. Huh. I used to use this all the time on Debian Buster for various things. That's fine. Hopefully Emacs is not obsoleted. No, it isn't. Emacs is also another basic text editor that is very powerful and can be used for programming. Okay, we're going to install one more piece of software. Installing an additional media player. Actually, I lied. I'm going to grab Handbrake too, which allows us to rip DVDs as well as manipulate media files. Not that I'm encouraging piracy. encouraging people to use it for educational purposes. But all in all, you should have a very decent operating system that can replace Windows 11 for a bunch of stuff, especially if you have an older system. I'm going to leave it here for now, and join us next time when we go through the UFW and getting it configured for dev work. Okay, this is an addendum to this video. I forgot to show you another feature. It's called Synaptic Package Manager. It's basically the old package manager that's been in Debian and other derivative distributions since the 90s. It's still powerful and useful, even though there's a move to deprecate it and remove it. It's super easy to use too. It's another package manager that I love. You simply check a box, mark what you want to pull in, and you can also use it to do system upgrades and software too. But yeah, it's very straightforward to use for the most part. Let's say we want some icons. We simply scroll down and check the icons that we want. I'm just grabbing a few packages here. We hit apply and it is very intuitive, very easy to use. And I love it. But this was the original software store, and as well as software distribution and update channel in older versions of Debian and the derivatives. I think it's a mistake them wanting to phase it out slowly. But that's just my opinion. And once this is done installing, we're going to grab Steam, as well as a few little games too for Linux, where one of the biggest things I remember people telling me years ago it was you can't game on Linux/Unix. Doop doop doo. Grab that. There, grabbed us a few games here. And once they're all installed, we'll punch a few up. Alright, let's see what games we got on here. There's a bunch that comes built in, like Solitaire, Chess, 5 or more. I never played that one. I think it's a form of Sudoku. We got Mahjong, Mines, and then the Naval Battle one that I installed. And we also got Open Arena and Steam. There, we'll just punch on Open Arena real quick. But all in all, Linux itself is very versatile and it's very powerful and shouldn't be discounted as an operating system that anyone can use.